1, 2, 3.
I need to do it again because Steve fucked it up.
I fucked it up.
Yes.
But I thought we were just applauding ourselves for starting another podcast.
I guess it's also
let's try it once again.
Okay.
So
1, 2, 3. And you always get it right the second time, so well done.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this evening presentation. Tonight we have Steve the Wonderful and Thomas the Awful.
What is happening right now? Boris a note on this before it's maybe the echo.
And stop spanking me.
Are you?
Oh,
well, okay.
Anyway,
I didn't know it was going to be that kind of podcast.
Straight into the point.
I also didn't. But yeah. Hi, Boris. Hi, Steve.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So before that, what we are doing? Yeah.
See you.
So this is episode 15, the second episode in season 2. We are sticking to our usual format, which is Boris and myself and a guest, and this guest this time is Steve. So Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank
if you. Can introduce yourself.
Thank you. Okay, well, my name is Steve. I am from San Francisco, California. I have been living here in Estonia since the late 1990s, more or less. And my background is mostly in journalism, but lately I sold my soul to the devil and I'm doing marketing. Yeah.
So to me it's always funny that Americans, when they say where are they from, they don't just say I'm from San Francisco. I'm from San Francisco, California.
Yes, not the other San Francisco that's in Florida. Or
so there is
no, probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
But that's the thing. I was in the States. I was there a few times, and we went to see the Grand Canyon, and we went on a helicopter ride, and it was me and my friend, and there were 2 other passengers in the helicopter, and they were American, and we were just making small talk. Where are you from? What do you do? And whatever. And I told them at that time we were visiting a friend in Denver, and I just said we are going to Denver, and she was like, Denver, Colorado. It's so important to say it is Colorado. You can't just say Denver. I understand it clarifies, I guess, things sometimes when there are multiple Denvers, but it's just this is the format of I'm in Tallinn. I'm not in Tallinn. How are you? County or whatever. I'm just in Tallinn, but in the States, it's something.
That's interesting that you bring it up. I think if you don't say Denver, Colorado, they don't get the whole concept. Like Denver, you could be saying Danview or something that sounds like, I don't know. But did you notice though that Americans, if you ask them where they're from, they don't say I'm from the United States. They say I'm from Denver, Colorado, or whatever, because it skips the next question, which is where in the States are you from?
And I actually, now you just say that, I was waiting that you're going to say I'm from the States, but you just said San Francisco, California, and I kind of registered that, you didn't say you are from America, you just said San Francisco.
But I mean, I think most of the podcast listeners would know, and anybody who was listening to the answer to that question would know where it was, which country it was in. If I said San Francisco, California, like if you said you were from Paris, you would say, "Oh, the one in Yugoslavia." No,
it's in France. Did you know that the Frank Sinatra? There's this New York. It's not a. I think we discussed this with you or something else.
It twice. That's what they say.
Yeah, but it's. But that's the thing. It's not just like a lyrical something like New York. I'm repeating it twice because it fits. Mm-hmm. It is New York City in New York State.
That's right.
New York. Yeah, it's just
you know so much.
It's just interesting things that I know. Okay, so what we do in the beginning is this podcast. This show is called "It Makes Me Smile," and the idea is we are hoping we have smiled. Something made us smile in the past week or two. So we just go around and everyone says one thing that made us smile. Boris and I will do first, so you kind of say how it's done, and then your turn. So Boris, what made you smile?
Garfield. Garfield movie. I went with my family to watch Garfield movie in the theater on the weekend, and my kid was laughing his ass off, and that made me extremely happy, because nowadays kids they watch cartoons. But they don't watch those long ones. They always need something, short. A dopamine bomb, a little one. And this is a full-length movie, cartoon, animated movie, and he was laughing literally every single minute. I mean, it is silly sometimes. It is well made. For the grown-ups, there are several places where you will shed a tear or two. But for the kids, they were laughing, and that made me happy and smile.
Okay.
How does it... Have you seen there were other animated Garfields, like, 10, 15 years ago. How does it compare to that?
Well, first of all, if I'm not mistaken, the Garfield movie, previous one, was made somewhere in 2004, I think, and it was a movie with animated character of Garfield. Whilst here, it's the fully animated.
I didn't remember.
Fully animated.
I think. Wait, how old is your son?
7.
Okay, I think they get to that because I also have a son. They get to a certain age where their attention span is such that they can pay attention for a full-length feature film.
Yeah.
And that transition is like around that age, I think.
I think it is. It is because, previously he really liked Moana. He liked How to Train Your Dragon, but mostly because of the dragons there, not because of the plot or dialogues. It's only because some flapping feet creature there. But now I can tell that he's getting into the age where he can actually dig in and start understanding what the hell is going on. He pays attention to the dialogues. He listens, and he actually laughs at the jokes. Not only somebody has farted and he's like,
that is also good. So would the adult enjoy it?
Oh, I enjoyed it. My wife has enjoyed it. I've seen elderly people passing their time in the phone while this cartoon was on. But I mean, overall, I liked it. And if I'm not mistaken, it even beat the Furiosa in
The Parade is not hard to beat. The Parade is not really a good movie.
I don't know. I'm still going to watch it, but
what film is this?
Furiosa is the Mad Max prequel to the Hard Road or something. Fury Road of Fury.
Fury Road. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. With
Chris Hemsworth and the girl from the chess thing.
Anya, what's the name? Taylor-Joy.
She was in the... What was it called? It was a TV series with the chess...
the Gambit.
The Gambit.
The Gambit, yes.
Gambit. It was a good...
It was a really good...
Yeah. So I know... I do like Garfield from the strips that are in the... So I had a few magazines as well, but it's usually in strips on the... On a daily magazine, like at the bottom somewhere where there's Garfield and there's something else.
And the newspapers,
and the newspapers. No, I like Garfield because I saw it out in the movies, and I was thinking, should I give a try? And maybe I will. Okay.
Well, the good thing about having kids is that you can go to these like kids movies with them, and that's like your excuse.
And it looks legit. Like I'm with a kid. Oh my god, this is such an amazing movie. So, T, what made you smile?
It actually is a little bit related to, as in the genre. I have received... So I bought the complete set of Calvin and Hobbes cartoon, or is it comic?
Comic.
Comic.
Like
I don't know. Yeah, the book. Do you know?
Yeah. We spoke about it the other day.
Yeah. So it has arrived. At first, I thought it is. You follow the tracking, and it says that it's stopped by customs somewhere in Belgium. Because I got it from the UK Amazon. Could come from whatever reason.
So now it has to be imported into the European Union.
It has to be, but then like it was stopped, and then what do I do? And then I sent a mail to Amazon, and they actually very quickly came back. So well done for the customer service there, and they said, they see it. There is an official like longest time until you have to wait to see if it arrives or not. So let's wait until that, and then if that doesn't come through, then let's do the next sections. And that latest date was last Friday, and then last Friday it has arrived. So yeah, I've got the full complete set of Calvin and Hobbes. It's I bought the hardcover edition.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 massive books, like huge coffee table. You can put it as a coffee table book. It's really like the big, I don't know, 25 centimeters times 20 tall or whatever, and it has everything from I think so Bill Watterson, whatever. I'm a fan, but I don't know. So I think he wrote
Such
it like over 10 years. So this was actually 10 years, and I never realized that because I was just like I was only exposed to this like in the newspaper, like whatever daily sections. But he wrote this he made one strip every single day. So 6 days, so Monday to Saturday, that was one strip of black and white, and the Sunday was the bigger, more page than the color.
Yeah, with six
blocks. So the top, the title, and then the next something next to the title, which kind of relates to the story, and then there's 6 kind of panels or 6 square blocks of things. Yeah, so that makes me sad because smile because I've loved these things from 20 something years since I've known this, and I never. My sister bought some of the books, but not full, and it was in Hungarian. So this is now a full, complete set in English, beautifully printed on a shiny paper, hardcover, nice kind of fabric, kind of coating on the outside. It's really, really nice. So that's
okay.
So Steve,
my turn. Okay. What made me smile last weekend, actually, we had, I should kind of explain, my family, or my wife's grandmother has a country house in the Estonian countryside, not too far from Tallinn. And so we're there every weekend, and this weekend we had a close encounter with some lynxes.
Ooh,
and it's the first time I've ever seen a lynx in the wild. I'm kind of excited about the country place and all the wild animals we see. Fox is a pretty regular visitor, although like in some places like in the UK, foxes are like just everywhere. But for me, it's exciting. So we had these. So my wife called me downstairs and said, "Steve, come look, come quick!" And on top of the this kind of broken down house, which is next to our house, like on the property, there was some kind of animal moving, and I thought that it was the fox had climbed up on the top of this old stone wall. And I looked at it and I thought, that's a really big fox. It's bigger than the usual fox.
Weird looking
fox. And she said, "It's a lynx." Then I saw it. It was,
it has this kind of like the ears,
the ears that kind of point up.
Yeah.
So then, of course, I ran to get my phone to take a picture of it, and the phone was in another part of the house, and by the time I got back, it was gone. And what had happened during that time was that there were actually 2 lynxes there, and my wife saw that the cat was our cat was kind of staring them down.
Ooh.
So she got frightened for the cat, ran out to grab the cat to haul the cat inside, and the lynxes ran away. So
so the cat was staring them down from the safety of the house?
No, the cat was
outside.
The cat was outside, sort of like halfway between the house and where the lynxes were.
Wow. How big is your cat? It's like
it's
a
regular,
just like a normal,
slightly chubby house cat.
Okay.
And a lynx is, it's not like a lion or something, but it's bigger than a house cat, definitely bigger than a fox. And about the size of a medium-sized dog, but I think they're, like most cats, they're like mainly hair. So it would be it would look like a really skinny dog.
Sprayed it with water, it would.
But they're powerful. They I googled this later because I didn't know much about lynxes. But they will hunt and kill deer. That's their main food.
So there was 2 lynxes. Are they like So are they like do they hunt in couples, or this is like part of the couple, or how do they?
I don't know that. I would assume it's part of a couple, and I read that they cover a huge territory, so they'll roam like 20 kilometers a day.
And that's there. So if there are other lynx, then they'll fuck them up and send them away or something.
I don't know. I don't know if they're really territorial or what. But I realized that they have been marking their territory in our yard by leaving little presents, which I didn't.
Well, in that case, it means that they are territorial.
Yeah, I guess that means yes. I guess that would make sense. But I didn't realize what these little gifts were from, but later when I made the connection with the lynxes and kind of did some Googling, I realized they're the culprits.
Lynx gifts.
Yes.
Or maybe they just consider your place as the outhouse, which is also...
it's funny because we found some, last year, found some interesting animal shit that we couldn't identify, and knew that it wasn't wild boar, and the regular animals that are around are wild boar and foxes and wolves, and we knew it wasn't any of those. So after Googling, we decided that it actually was a bear, and it wasn't just our Googling that decided that. Actually, later on, after talking to some other neighbors in the village, they said, "Yeah, there's been bears roaming around there." So this part of our land, I've named Karopeldik, which kind of translates to bear shithouse.
Oh, nice.
And so that's like, because I have to have ways to refer to the different bits of the land, right? So this is the Karopeldik.
And so. Is it normal that the lynx come this close to human habitat? Because, I know foxes, I don't know, in the UK, that's very common. But in Hungary, if we see a fox coming close to then, it can mean 2 things. One is there's not enough food, so they are kind of forced, or they have rabies. So it's usually a sign that it's not normal. If they come here, then something is wrong. So do lynxes come to...
Well, okay, first of all, if you're talking about foxes, it's quite common that healthy foxes, they're scavengers. They will just... And they're not... The ones around where we live, they're not shy. They'll just walk up and, you're having a picnic or something. They'll just walk up and grab the food unless you kind of chase them away. And they're not rabid. They're normal.
Okay.
Lynxes... I didn't know much about lynxes until this encounter and started, looking around. And I found an article on the English language news website for Estonian Public Broadcasting, which I used to work for, by the way.
That's ERR, right?
ERR, yeah. So, and it was an article from about a year ago, and it was saying that lynxes in Estonia are getting closer to human habitation.
Oh.
Because their numbers are going up.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't hunt them, so their population is increasing. So they're kind of, and then people living close to nature. It's bound to happen. So there's a lot more encounters with lynxes now than there have been in recent years. So I don't know if it will be the only time that we see a lynx, but. It's the first. It made me smile that we have this connection with nature. I get to see an interesting wild animal.
Even when I see a rabbit running across the road in the city, close to in Vimsi, for example, which is on the road, which is not in the city center, it makes me happy. Just seeing these things.
Yeah.
And and you just casually mentioned the usual animals we see wolves. So Steve last year he showed me pictures of he saw a pack of wolves distance from you, like to me, seeing wolves. I've never seen wolves in my life, and I love.
Yeah, actually, it's a friend of ours who was visiting who made this video of these wolves getting in a fight with a bunch of wild boars.
Wow!
And you can see that it was like young wolves, like not exactly wolf cubs, but like young wolves, like a few young wolves were trying to attack this pack of wild boars, and you can see that the boars fought them off, and they were protecting the piglets, and then they kind of ran away. So that was interesting, and it was like right, it was farther from the house than the lynxes were, but it was close enough.
Yeah, still like there's nature on my backyard in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And on my back door.
So I was thinking about getting one of those nature cams that kind of records at night.
Yeah, the motion kind of sensor. Ooh, that would be amazing.
I'll have to look into that because that would be. I've
got my dad's friend is a hunter, and he also has like a few like these night cams and this motion sensor things like attached out in the forest, and he's got like feeding spots.
Right. Yeah.
So he leaves things there, and the wild boars come, and then he sometimes sends pictures. And what you see at night, it's very
it's pretty cool.
Okay,
and you can also name the place where you're living a Dr. Dolittle house. So the animals are all animals are welcome.
Yeah, except
lynxes, foxes.
I can't speak their language.
Well, it will come. It will come.
I didn't know which is more difficult to learn, Estonian or wolf, or.
Well, you must have Estonian already, right?
Enam-vähem, more or less.
I haven't, so
you tried. You did your best.
I tried, I gave up.
Okay. Actually, it is quite impressive for the American to learn Estonian language. Usually it's, I don't know, the most common choice will be probably some Spanish, isn't it?
Well, Spanish is much easier and closer to English, first of all, and they teach it in schools.
Mm-hmm. Did you learn any language while back in the States?
I studied Spanish in school, and I was almost fluent at one point, but then I kind of never used it for decades, and then, I can still kind of fake it in Spanish, but I can't really converse. My Estonian, I have to say, isn't that great. It's like I can get by, and I can pass, I can have conversations, but it's going to be difficult. But I do have American friends. I wanted to say expats, but there's a certain point where you stop being an expat and become an immigrant. I think I'm already past that point. But they speak Estonian really well.
I speak Russian too, and that is fluent.
I mean, also my Russian is also getting rusty, but yeah.
Any other languages?
I studied French and German, but not much. I can read some signs and stuff, but not really.
Lalu?
It's like
that's shit.
That's shit. Yeah, but no, that's pretty much the extent of it.
Yeah, I mean it's much more than what I can.
In Hungary, what did you study in school, like for languages?
Well, it's depends on the era as well. So we were under. Not in the Soviet Union, but we were under the Soviet...
the Warsaw Pact.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But yeah, so...
Iron Curtain.
Yeah, we were kind of behind that. And up until 1989, until the Berlin Wall was kind of knocked down. And I was born in 1980, so I was like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. We had to learn Russian. So in the school, so I had learned Russian for 2 years, but I don't speak Russian. I can read I can read the Russian sentences, but I don't understand them. But I can read the Cyrillic letters, but I don't. And after that, English, because I learned English, plus some German in high school, but English was mostly.
And Maurice, did you learn English or in school or?
Yeah, I started learning English in the second grade. I wasn't good at that because I don't like memorizing things. And but I have a vocal memory. So I'm listening and I'm learning. But when I have something in front of me with the letters and I have to memorize it, it's like a torture to me. Especially when it is something like London is the capital of Great Britain. And there we go, and so on and so forth. English and Estonian languages both. I was in Estonian kindergarten and I was speaking absolutely fluent Estonian. But then I had 3 years of no practice whatsoever because Estonian language in Russian schools started to be introduced on the 3rd grade. So 3 years, nothing, and everything has been, wonderfully forgotten. And yes, so after school I started picking up English and Estonian. I'm still there. I'm still learning.
So I've you said you have vocal. That kind of the memory is vocal memory, better than just memorizing words. And I've got a lot to say on that, but I want to move on to the next section of the product because
I can't understand the words that are coming out from the mouth.
Never
you start writing it down? No.
No. Okay, go ahead. Conduct it. Some shit.
The voice is in a movie. I don't know. But yeah, no. So we put you on the spotlight, Steve. So
that's why he's sweating.
The stage is yours. You apparently came with something.
My topic.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my topic, and it's one that combines technology with nostalgia, and I think I'm old enough to do nostalgia. So it's this. It's what are some things that you miss because we no longer have them because of technology. And I'll give you some examples. Like after people started doing digital photography, we no longer had this thing where, because I used to take a lot of pictures, no longer had this thing where you would take a bunch of pictures. You didn't know what was on the roll. You gave the roll away. 3 days later, you came back, and it was like gambling, right? And there was an excitement, like, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? Because first of all, you did spend money on this, so you got some skin in the game, right? The other thing is, like, what you get back might be absolutely shit, or you might get like the best photo of your whole life, of you and your friends, or that airplane taking off, or whatever, and that kind of like thrill, that anticipation, we no longer have because of technology. Yes, you can go and still do C41 processing, but chances are most people don't. Another example might be something you talked about before, these newspaper comics, and waiting for the Sunday edition where all the color ones would come out. Maybe that was just me because I like those comics, but one little caveat, one little rule is it can't be something like a negative, like, oh, I miss when people didn't scroll on their phone all the time. It has to be something that was there that is no longer there that you kind of miss.
Well, this is a hard one, but one thing that you said the about this comic strips in the newspaper, and so I don't know if it exactly fits the mold, but now we have. Back in the day, there were TV series, and it comes out. One episode comes out once a week, and then they can go through that. And now we have Netflix, and we have whatever, and we have binge watching. And you know what? I sometimes do it, but I kind of was missing this feeling of everyone is anticipating what the next episode is. Everyone's watching one thing,
and you're talking about,
it, and you try to understand what happened and all these conversations, and they kind of started to reintroduce this. So there are now series in Netflix and in Disney or whatever that are actually released on a weekly basis. Once it's out and you haven't watched it when it came out, then you can binge watch it. But technology kind of took it away, and now it gave it back to us. I mean, you can always also be disciplined on your own to just watch one a week, but when it comes out,
there are so many spoilers in the internet. Sometimes it's very difficult to avoid knowing what is happening next because everybody already seen it, and they're like, "Oh, the butler is a killer," and you're like, "For fuck's sake!"
Yeah.
About the photo, I have to admit, we probably had some those places where you can actually give the film and it will be developed for you. But in my childhood, we developed it ourselves. We had the kids, we had all
I've never done that.
well, we had the red lamp because this is the only light source that is not affecting the film while it has been processed and etc. And then
That's what the alert was about.
And then you had to use two different chemicals. First, I don't even remember in Russian the names of them.
I think it was because I did this also as a hobby for a short time. One of them was a kind of silver nitrate solution.
Probably.
If you're talking about, I'm not talking about the film developing, but the paper. Once you enlarge it onto a paper, then it was a silver nitrate solution that would make it go dark, and then you had to stop it with another solution to kind of neutralize the silver nitrate to make it stop. Otherwise, it just turned black.
Yes.
And then you'd have to rinse it with water for
something
forever.
like that. And I also had a special cassette where I had to load in the film, and this special ingredient that was actually making the film possible to view on the normal using the normal light. So after you took all the pictures, so. And it was a process, and the darkest room in the house was usually bathroom. And just imagine, you're not going there for 10-15 minutes. You're going there for,
and you
have a family behind you. Well, that are knocking there like, and how long more? I need to go.
So what is it? I actually remember now one or two, but what is it? Do you have something?
I wanted to say phones in the sense of I remember when we were a little youngsters and we were agreeing with each other that we're going to meet at 7:00 in our spot, and we were there at 7:00, every one of us, and if somebody was missing, either he's dead or he's ill. There are no other options.
There was no excuse.
But we will figure it out later, because we can't figure it out now.
Yeah, there's no texting 10 minutes before and saying, I'm going to be late, or I can't make it, or whatever.
Exactly.
You just came.
Yes.
Kind of a interesting kind of side note to that. I lived in Moscow before I lived in Estonia. I lived in Moscow for 5 years. And a lot of people, and it was probably the same here in Estonia, a lot of people just did not have phones.
Like in the home.
There was no phone at home. They would, if they really had to, they would use a neighbor's phone. Or if they had to call out, to get a call in, and then to call out, you could use a payphone or something. Mm-hmm. But the only way to agree to meet somebody again was to agree when you were meeting them. So if I met you on a Saturday and, can you meet next Saturday? Then you would have to agree then, and you couldn't change your plans in between because there was no way to get in touch with each other. So you had to make a plan and stick to it.
We were agreeing to the things, and we were keeping our words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that, and there was this is also one of the things I wanted to say, and there was this trust that if I said this, then then it's gonna happen, and
if he didn't show up, and you didn't have a really good reason, like you were sick or dead, then oh boy, then that's.
But I also remember back we also had the situation where in my whole small hometown, 5 families had phones, and you had to go somewhere if you wanted to make. But eventually the phones got rolled out, and everyone had one. And that was basically the last time when I remembered phone numbers off the top of my head. I had the phone numbers of my friends, my closest friends, some of the relatives, and you could just like dial with the thing.
Yeah, now people don't know their own phone number.
No, I don't.
It's like I didn't know what my phone number is. It's my friend's phone. I'll text him and ask.
Interestingly, this is where the different memory also comes in. So I know my own phone number, but I can say it. But if I had to write it down, then I have to like sit down and think.
Yeah.
Ooh, what is the? Because I just know the 5361991. That's my. I know the melody. I know the sound of it exactly. I can say that.
Kind of like Boris with his audio.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is kind of
the same thing is actually happening with me when I don't remember the code of my credit card, for instance. For instance, I need to use the ATM to withdraw the money or to put the money in. But I know the combination, so my finger knows the combination.
So, yeah.
You know the direction and the motion.
Exactly.
But you don't know the numbers.
So there was a film, there was a movie that I watched with my cousins. It was a kind of a thriller where some girl, I don't know, she got, I think, kidnapped or even traumatized, and then she was always like with her hand, she was like with her body, she was always like doing these like movements of, but her fingers were doing something. And in the beginning of the movie, I thought that, and later it turned out to be true, she was like typing in a 4-digit number in a safe or in some system that would unlock the truth, and then they could see the whatever. But yes, this memory of like it's you don't know it, but your muscles know it. So there are, I mean, these are I think these are called mnemonic devices. I mean, there are these magicians or people who can do tricks, and they say, hey, like I will memorize like I don't know 100 words, and they ask the audience to tell me something. And what they do, at least one of the Hungarians, what he did was he in his head he had a picture of a house, and if someone said bicycle, then he said, oh, I put the bicycle in the shed. If someone said book, I don't know this, I put the book in the book. So he could anchor, this is the expression, so he could anchor these things to something that he knew, and then he just kind of go back and walk back and say all the things. And this is even a technique, there is this thing called neuro-linguistic programming, which is like a way of, a way of a lot of things, but one of them is this kind of anchoring. So you can anchor thoughts to something else. So when it comes to recalling it, then you can trigger that thing. Even when I go on like 2 weeks holiday, I basically forgot my password to my laptop, to my work laptop, right? And I can't, for the love of God, I can't remember it. And then I come back and I sit down, and all of a sudden the environment is familiar, everything is the same, and I just type it in. Because this whole thing just triggers it. And
does it prove that we are robots?
No,
Androids?
but it proves no. If you were robots and androids, you would have never forgotten.
I think it proves that the neural pathways in our brain don't work in a way that you would necessarily expect, but they have to have certain conditions attached.
Yeah. The other example for me for this is the use of maps. So when you, I remember when you
open this wallpaper and you're trying to find where the hell you are.
And we were able to go from A to B, and not just like in Hungary to like go from, even when we go on holiday, like, okay, this is the highway and this is to like go left and right. But my parents, my dad, after the Berlin Wall was actually knocked down, and we could go work in Germany and even the Western, the democratic Germany or whatever. So in Frankfurt, basically they went and worked in Frankfurt. You could just buy this car map, which is like pages and pages and pages. In the beginning, there is a kind of an index which says like zooms out, and it's sectioned up in the squares, and it says like B1 is page 72, and then you go to, so you map out your road, you ride on maybe the main highways and the exit 272 towards Hanover or whatever. You have to sit, you
planned it out.
You planned it out, and then someone is driving and someone is kind of making sense of all this. And we don't need to do this now because we have Google Maps, or we have Waze or whatever, and quite frankly, I think we are a little bit losing some skill, which is like, I think in general kind of navigation, because navigation, it's an abstract thing in a sense that, like, yes, in case of driving, yes, you have to remember the corners and the names of the streets or whatever. But in general, when you navigate like a maze of, I don't know, problem, you try to understand something, you try to,
like
so wherever you are, all this kind of like spatial memory or abstract thinking, it's a useful skill that when we can kind of navigate with the information that we have. And yeah, I just feel we are getting a bit lazy with that. Having said that, I drive home to Hungary twice a year from Estonia and then back, and I always say, like, I'm going to buy the car map. And I'm going to just use that. I'm not going to use the Google Maps, but I never do that. I just use the Google Maps.
I mean, I used to use something similar too when I first started learning to drive, like way back when. But if you're by yourself and you don't have a navigator with you, like a person, human navigator, then
hard.
You know, if you're trying to get around a city and you're looking for a particular street, then I found that I constantly had to pull over. So open the map, go like, oh yeah, okay, that's this street. I just passed this street. Now I've got to go up 2 blocks, turn left, and then, you know.
One of the reasons why I don't actually do it when I drive home is I'm also driving alone. You wouldn't be able to do this.
But then on the other hand, you know, I have really wished at certain points that I had something like a paper map, which was, yes, like a wallpaper kind of thing, but that's why you always folded them up, and they always got like slightly ripped along the folds. But I was in Riga a couple years ago, and all of my technology failed because I had a crappy phone, and the battery, and I was using Navi, and battery died, and I was driving in a city that I didn't know, which is much bigger than any city in Estonia, and it was Friday rush hour.
Is Riga bigger than Tallinn?
Riga is way bigger.
Two times bigger.
Yeah, and I was driving into the city, and Navi failed. Now my car had a very primitive GPS kind of thingy in it, which showed the screen with the map that looked like something out of, you know, old school Mario Brothers. I mean, it was like really, really primitive, but it worked. But it didn't really tell me where I had to go and which ways to go in the traffic. So I, of course, ended up on the wrong side of the river. And it took me like over an hour to get back to the right side of the river.
And it can be so frustrating. Sometimes I can just cry when I feel this.
Especially in Riga, I remember I tried to make the U-turn, because we had a gig there, and I had to park the car, but the place where we were playing, they didn't have the parking spot, so I had to take the U-turn, and my God, I spent, I think, around 30 minutes trying to find the way, even using the navigator.
No, I had that similar experience when I was going home, and I think I was going across Warsaw, and there was traffic, and so even though the GPS is there to help, and especially in cities when there are many turns, you kind of miss which one the GPS means, if there are like many turns one after each other. And I think it was kind of the afternoon traffic where, let's say, the traffic mostly comes out of the city, let's say, and I was even like laughing, like, oh, there was a massive queue of cars, and I was just on the other side, like, oh, I can go so easily, I'm not. And I missed my turn, then I had to kind of cut across that and turn left or whatever. So now I had to join back to that other traffic that now was coming back, like 500 meters later. So fuck. So, and that is so frustrating. There is very, very, very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was like in your case, in my case too, it was like I was really close in the very beginning to the parking lot that I was looking for, and it was just that one turn that I didn't know that ended up putting me on the bridge to hell on the wrong side of the river. And I was literally like, you know, I think 400 meters away. And yeah, it's very frustrating. But anyway, I don't know if a paper map would have helped me then, but at least if I had been doing it old school, I would have known like beforehand exactly where I was going and not relying on the technology. So
yeah, the thing, there is something to that, like you kind of Because even now in Tallinn, I drive around. There are some places where I can just drive without any maps, but I still like until today. I come here with the GPS. I don't know why. And I was here like in the studio like many times, and I still do that.
So, are there any other things that like technology's gotten rid of? I mean, the other one that I can think of is kind of similar to the photography one in the sense that it's about anticipation, and this was when we used to get mail delivered. And I used to run to the post box and say, because it was like a lottery. It might be a letter from a friend, or it might be a bill, or and it's a bit different than ordering something from Amazon and waiting for the package to come, because first of all you probably get a message on your phone or whatever, and also you're expecting something to come and you know what it is. But if you go to your mailbox and instead of like, hey, I got a postcard from an old friend who is in London or something, it was like it kind of like lifted up your day.
Yeah, I actually wanted to start exchanging mails with a friend of mine, and I wanted to like play a chess game. So like. Every mail is just like, okay, this is the move, and then I say something. We never did it, but this mailing, the sending, receiving mails, that is not.
There's a certain romance in this whole slow communication process, and.
So I had one thing, and as he was talking, there was I remember another one that's also related to mails. So this was kind of in the. It's kind of a halfway to the evolution of. Now we have Netflix, right? So we stream and whatever. When I was living in the UK, Netflix also had this thing where they sent. You could order and they send you CDs.
Yeah, that's how it started.
DVDs, So there was like a company like that in the UK as well called Lovefilm, and that was also amazing. They had so nowadays we have. I find it very hard to choose anything from Netflix to watch. It's just so much. I can't decide. I don't know why, but it's like it's. And I go back to watch old movies. Back then, with that. There was a catalog. There wasn't 2,000 things on it. That was like a fairly limited.
Was it an online catalog, or was it like paper or?
I think online. It was already online, so I could select, and 3 comes, and it comes in an envelope, 3 DVDs. I watch it and send it back, and that was also cool, because you had to, again, you kind of committed. It's not just like you. In Netflix, you start a movie. I don't like it. 5 minutes, I'm out. This is you rented it. I should actually watch it.
Yeah, you paid for it.
And then I don't know. I found like a lot of good movies there, and maybe today as well. I should start watching new stuff. But I don't know. I'm scared. Boris, you have any?
Oh yeah. With this renting stuff, you reminded me about the music. The music when you purchased the cassette. Back in the days, you couldn't skip the song.
Yeah.
You were listening to the song.
Yes.
From the very beginning until the very end, and you were listening to the album. Yeah. You were not skipping anything. You were not like, I don't like the sound of it, and just throw it away. No. As you said, this is a commitment. You have purchased the physical thing. And especially when the... Walkman is losing its power.
You don't want to
rewind thing. You take the pencil and it.
You always like save Bill battery just with the pencil. Did you do that?
Oh, I always. I didn't do that. I always when the thing got jammed up, sometimes the tape would get. Usually not in a Walkman. I'm not going to disparage Sony here. That never happened with my Sony, I think. But yeah, sometimes the thing would get a bit loose, and then I'd have to, maybe I would. Yeah, I don't remember actually rewinding a whole tape with a pencil, because I did. That was the thing.
It's because the batteries there were not only pricey, but it was quite difficult to get hold of them.
Okay.
Remember. Soviet Union. But
the music point kind of reminded me of something else that, we kind of forget, because people don't listen to whole albums anymore, but the albums were actually curated to, I mean, you're in music, but yeah, I mean, the albums are curated to have these particular songs in a particular place for a particular reason.
Yes.
And nowadays, people listen to a single track online. They don't listen to an album online necessarily.
We had this. We had an episode about this,
and we were talking about it, but I think that it is quite rare now that the artists are actually making the album in the sake of album, like with the meaning, with the lore in it, something like that. I think it depends on the. Now, well, a lot of artists, what they do, they have one major hit of them, and then they have fillers of 7, 8, 10 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, totally good. Maybe what I wanted to say is like if there was an artist that you liked when the albums were made as an album, I wouldn't think they would have changed to kind of compromise into this like. But there might be now. I'm basically a worker in the music industry. I am making music just to make money, and I know I just need to have one hit, and I need to have 9 fillers because that's just how it works. So
they say you have to have an album. So
even that is not a thing now. Now you will have to have a singles. So you create a music, and so the algorithms are for you as an artist. It doesn't bring any value to publish the whole album. Rather than publish song by song with some periodic.
Well, that's how it used to be, right? You release a single and you release another single.
Yeah, but
the video on the MTV.
The idea was to give some sort of teaser. That's why it was a single. Maybe another single, but usually it was only one single, and after that it was a full-length album, and people were just.
What are people doing now? Are they trying? I mean, I guess they're not trying to sell albums; they're trying to sell concert tickets, or
what are they
actually trying to sell?
Well, yeah, but in order to sell concert tickets, you have to be known. And to become known, you have to follow the rules of the algorithms that Spotify and YouTube Music and Amazon Music they are providing you with. And the algorithm says that more often you are publishing a song, the more chances you have that it will be somewhere in the top of. Among listeners who will be listening to it.
Because there's activity, there's constant activity, right?
Activity, exactly.
So it's the algorithms who are really.
Oh yeah, AI, our everything.
So we're gonna keep secret what was the other thing that I would have said, because we will move on to the next section of the show, which is rapid fire questions. So these are questions that I don't even know, because this is Boris made a very clever
42.
No,
that's a good answer.
But 42 already been answered a long time ago.
Oh,
this is the meaning of life and everything.
Wait, on the show though.
On the
show, I think there's someone said 42. We covered everything. 42, 69.
I'm not as original as I thought.
No. Even we weren't when we said 42, because it's a whole joke. But yeah, so this is.
These questions are very serious.
I think this is from all over the place. This is not just the.
No, these are extremely serious questions that grown-ups are asking kids.
Oh, okay. I'm a bit nervous now. Okay.
So, well, then start?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
What is the best way to make people laugh?
You could tickle their bellies.
My God, that was fast.
I guess. Or the feet. Or the armpit, if you want to go there.
Or maybe slip on a banana peel. No, I don't know. Yeah.
What is the nicest thing you could do for someone? Tickle their belly?
No, well, that's I think that's in the top 5. Bake them a cake. Nicest thing you can do for somebody. I think genuinely ask them how they are, if they are, and meet it if they seem to be in some kind of trouble. I mean, in a way that is not a casual "how are you," but like a meaningful one. Okay, that's the best answer I've got right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it's a
cool.
good answer.
Cool.
Okay. Would you rather be able to fly or swim underwater?
Oh, well, I can swim underwater.
You can also fly for a short period of time.
Until you think about. I would have to go with flying because I'm afraid of sharks.
Okay.
Also, yeah, and it would be a really cool mode of transportation as long as I stayed out of any designated air traffic corridors.
Fair enough.
My God, we have a very intelligent person with us today. I wanted to ask, bear with me, what is the best kind of a food for a food fight?
Ooh, probably anything that splatters and especially stains. So I would go for
Goulash.
Yeah.
Where did you stain?
Because you can fling that. You can fling that with big spoons, right?
Yeah. That's
or just use your hands. But yeah,
But not hot one.
No, medium. I mean, actually, I wonder. Like,
depends on how much damage you want to cause.
Cold goulash.
Maybe.
Maybe. And well, I mean, sort of very ripe tomatoes is the classic. But
Fair
does
enough.
goulash have tomatoes in it?
Could tell. It won't have the big, like the whole tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say beer bottles. I mean,
No,
that would be.
That's too obvious.
Yeah.
Plus,
the food fight would end pretty quickly.
Besides, it's not
In the
food,
hospital.
it's
It's not
beverage.
food. Yeah. Well, okay.
The container for beverage, it's not technically food.
Okay. Fair point. But yeah. Okay. I think we can go with goulash.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're going with goulash.
Christ. These are. If you grew to be 40 feet tall, what would you do? What is 40 feet? What is it in meters?
40 feet. I think it's about 12 meters, 13 meters, something like that.
We have an American.
Yeah,
among
so
us.
Yeah.
Let's ask him.
that's the thing,
It's,
he knows the conversion.
You just if you want to know in inches, just multiply by 12.
Oh,
That helps, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So let's see. 14, yeah, that's 4,800 inches.
Okay.
fairly rapid.
Anyway, but I think I would have to get a new wardrobe.
That is true.
And a new house.
But do you think you can find one in Estonia?
A house or wardrobe?
Well, the
Either or.
wardrobe, yeah.
I think that I would have to. Yeah, it would be expensive because I'd have to get all my
House
clothes
is
tailored.
buildable.
Yeah, I'd have to get all my clothes tailored, and the house specially built. I mean, I don't think. I mean, unless you're going to live in like an aircraft hangar, which are probably
That is,
probably not
But
heated
it
very
might
well.
be a bit chilly.
Yeah, that's the thing. That in wintertime, it's kind of a no-go. So, yeah.
I guess everything is proportional as well, right?
Yeah, it would be a logistical nightmare. I think to be that tall.
Would you look into like tall buildings and you peep into the 12th floor and like, hey.
To scare the
Yeah,
shit
just
out
scare
of
shit, yeah.
of young lady.
Yeah, we could climb up a skyscraper with one in your hand.
Oh yeah, like what's that?
King
King
Kong.
Kong.
Yeah, that's one option. Although I don't know exactly how tall King Kong was, but yeah, it would be a logistical nightmare. Then what would you do for like a job?
And to eat, how much
There
would you
must
have to
be
eat?
some job that would be really good for a very tall person, like you maybe like repairing electrical lines on poles because they don't need it.
But your fingers would be like too big as well, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe like what cranes do, cranes like move like things, lift things.
Yeah,
so you
he could actually help
And you can work in
construction.
construction. Yeah, you just have to be really careful where you step, I guess.
Oh, Steve, sorry. And the final question about the rapid questions will be, what makes you happy?
What makes me
This
happy?
most simplest question of them all.
I've been thinking about that lately, and I had a nice moment of happiness a couple of weeks ago when I had just hung up a hammock at our country house, and the weather was really good, and I was just sitting with a glass of wine. And I'm not saying it was the wine, although it was a contributing factor, but just for a moment, I was doing absolutely nothing, and that made me really happy.
That is good.
And it was surprising because I hadn't really thought of it, but I realized right now, at this very moment, I am absolutely happy, and I know it that I'm absolutely happy.
Did it go when you realized?
No, it didn't.
Because the danger of you don't know it, and now I know it. Oh fuck, it's kind of eludes me.
And then your mind could go to things that don't make you happy. But no, I managed to stay in the moment for a little while. So that did make me happy, and the fact that I acknowledged it and knew that now I know that I can repeat it at some point.
Did you?
Not since then. When I get the next opportunity, I will.
Okay.
And that was Steve.
That was Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cool.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Cheers.